born as the only daughter for Jacob and his first wife Leah in Haran, now in Turkey. When Jacob traveled back to the land of Canaan, he took with him his family of 4 wives, 11 sons, and Dinah to meet his parents. In his way back, he had a dream where he was challenged by an angel to change his name to Israel just before he met his fearful older brother Esau. Jacob thought that his brother Esau may corrupt little Dinah, so he hid her in a chest when he met his brother. After that famous meeting between the two brothers, which was fancied later on by many European artists, Jacob led his caravan south to Shechem town, old Nablus now, in the West Bank, where he found a camping ground. The owner of the land offered his lot for sale to Jacob, and it was sold, and it was located in an area populated by the Hivite, a Canaanite tribe, and their chief was called Hamor, who had a son called Prince Shechem, named after the big town. Jacob marked his property by stones and called it Elope Israel, or God of Israel, the first time he used his new name. Israel and his family lived in the area for 10 years peacefully, where he presumably dug water well while his sons grazed his flocks, and little Dinah grew up to be a charming young maiden. In Shechem also, his beloved wife Rachel became pregnant, while young Dinah became a free young woman growing up among 11 older brothers. Dinah enjoyed socializing among the young girls of the town, and she was a good dancer in social gatherings and weddings. The young Canaanite prince Shechem saw her and fell in love with her. His father did not object to his son's affair, while the family of Dinah did not approve of the love relationship. Shechem fell in love with Dinah, and that what mattered to the young lovers. The tradition among young people in such circumstances then was to elope to the mountain and return to be a husband and wife, forcing their families to accept their union. Shechem, however, intended to marry Dinah and wished for the approval of her family first. Genesis recorded the story as follows. Now Dinah went out to visit the women of the land, and when Shechem the son of Hamor, the Hivite, the prince of the land, saw her, he seized her and lay with her and humbled her. The biblical story, however, continues to show that Shechem did not really force the young girl to a relationship, nor raped her. It recorded that Shechem's soul was drawn to Dinah, and he loved the maiden and spoke tenderly to her. So Shechem spoke to his father Hamor, saying, "Get me this virgin for me as a wife." Then Dinah really was still a virgin according to the Old Testament. The story continues. Jacob heard that he had defiled his daughter Dinah, and his sons were with his cattle in the field, so Jacob held his peace until they came back. And Hamor, the father of Shechem, went out to Jacob to speak with him. The sons of Jacob came in from the field, and the young men were very angry because Shechem had been dishonest with Jacob's daughter, for such a thing ought not to be done. Hamor spoke with them, saying, "The soul of my son Shechem longs for your daughter. I pray you give her to him in marriage. Make marriage with us. Give your daughter to us, and take our daughters for yourself. You shall dwell with us, and the land shall be open to you. Dwell, trade, and get property in it." Shechem also said to her father and to her brothers, "Let me find favor in your eyes. Whatever you say to me, I will give. Ask of me ever so much as marriage present and gift, and I will give according as you say to me. Only give me the maiden to be my wife." The sons of Israel answered Shechem and his father Hamor deceitfully, because he had defiled their sister Dinah. They said to them, "Only on this condition we will consent to you, that you will become as we are, and every male of you to be circumcised." Then we will give our daughters to you, and we will take your daughters to ourselves, and we will dwell with you and become one people. But if you will not listen to us and be circumcised, then we will take our daughters and we will be gone. Circumcision was optional among the Canaanites at that time, for some were circumcised and others were not, according to historians. It was not a big deal. Obviously, Dinah was still a maiden, despite the spread rumors that the young lovers slept together. The biblical version of the story continues. Their words pleased Hamor and son Shechem, and the young man did not delay to do the things, because he had delight in Jacob's daughter. Now he was the most honored of all his family. So Hamor and his son Shechem came to the gate of their city and spoke to the men of their city, saying, These men are friendly with us. Let them dwell in the land and trade in it. For behold, the land is large enough for them. Let's take their daughters in marriage, and let's give them our daughters. Only on these conditions will the men agree to dwell with us, to become one people, that every male among us to be circumcised as they are circumcised. Will not their cattle, their property, and all their beasts be ours? Only let's agree with them, and they will dwell with us. And all who went out of the gates of the city became circumcised. On the third day, when they were sore, two of the sons of Jacob, Simon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, took their swords and came upon the city unawares, and killed all the males. They slew Hamor and his son Shechem with the sword, and took Dinah out of Shechem's house and went away. Jacob was upset with Simon and Levi. You have brought trouble on me by making me horrible to the inhabitants of the land. My numbers are few, and if they gather themselves against me and attack me, I shall be destroyed, both I and my household. But one said, Should he treat our sister as a slut? Dinah was accused of being an outgoing and free woman, and she was like mother, like daughter. Her mother, Leah, is known also to have on occasion embarked on outings of her own. Israel was thrown into paranoia because of the deed of his sons. He announced that the best thing to do is to escape before the crowd could attack him and his family, to avoid losing precious jewelry and house items in their way. He collected all precious items and buried them beneath a tree outside of Shechem. He drove his caravan south to Hebron, his parents' dwelling. Their journey south was dramatic and painful. Dinah suddenly disappeared. The Old Testament related that the two brothers rescued her from the house of Shechem, but she was not with them when they reached Hebron. Traditional Bedouin judgment of such cases was to take the woman behind a mount to the side of the road and stone her to death. Such a violent act was inflicted on women by traditional and conservative, as the case of Dinah. Simon was identified as the most tempered and violent among the sons of Israel. The attention, however, was given to Rachel, who felt the agony inside her womb watching the turmoil in Shechem, paranoia of her praying husband and disappearance of Dinah. She had a hard labor, and she knew that her life was slipping away. When the caravan reached Ephraim, Beit Jala town near Bethlehem, Rachel delivered a son. She looked at her little child and called him Benoni, a Bedouin word for dear son, and passed out. There was no time to carry her dead body to Hebron, so she was buried to the side of the road at the outskirts of Bethlehem. Israel named the little boy Benjamin, and he was nourished by his aunt Leah. Dinah had no recognized grave, for her body was left in the open countryside and its vicious enemy.